Hello, algebra students. Welcome back to our final day of content, the Simplifying Radicals Day 3. And I guess I say new content, but I really don't mean new content because all we're doing is just adding on a little bit more to what you've previously learned. And I apologize for this. I must have jammed my finger in something. So, essential question is, can I simplify radicals? And my hope is at this point you'd go, okay, we've done this before. What's going to be new? So we're going to add something onto that essential question. Can I simplify radicals with a coefficient? And hopefully you know what a coefficient is. Normally we see coefficients. I'm going to add like a little example over here. If I said 2x squared, the coefficient would be 2. Right? And so the coefficient is a number that's out in front of something. And so I'm going to draw a picture here. When we looked at our notes on the first day, we talked about how this is called a radicand. This is called a radical, or radical sign, or a radical symbol. And this new piece, use a different color, sorry, out here would be your coefficient, or the thing that's added out in front. So we're going to talk about what does that coefficient do, and I'm going to tell you right now, it doesn't do anything until the very end. So everything you're doing today is exactly the same until the very, very end, then we're going to use that coefficient. So let's look at this example. We're going to use this one up here anyway, so let's look at it now. If I asked you to simplify this, and that 3 was taken away, my hope is that you'd go, yeah, I've done this already. So we're actually going to, I'm going to use this color to kind of like, we're going to ignore that 3 right now. We're going to pretend it's not there. Have you guys ever heard of the term like set it and forget it? You normally hear things with like crock pots. Like you put all the food in there and then you just kind of forget about it for a little bit. So we're going to pretend that 3 is not there. I'm going to rewrite it. You don't have to do that, but I like to rewrite it and get it separated from that 3. We are looking for 2 numbers that multiply to be 8. 1 and 8 do, 2 and 4 do. They have to be from this list, right? 1 times 1, 2 times 2, 3 times 3, 4 times 4. Write this out every single time. I promise you, even in fact, when I was making some answer keys and looking at some numbers, I totally got lost. Write this down. Makes your life so much easier. Okay, so we're looking for numbers of all these perfect squares. They're called perfect squares because it's when you lay out all the tiles, you can make it into a square like 5 by 5, 6 by 6. So we have perfect squares. What perfect square goes into 8? 1 does. 4 does. And that's it. There's only 2. And we always want to pick the biggest one. So we're going to pick 4 and what 2 numbers multiply to be 8? 4 and 2. And guess why we picked the square root of 4? Because the square root of 4 is 2. Ooh, sorry. That's 2. What's the square root of 2? Well, square root of 2. And at this point, we'd normally be done. That's the solution. In fact, if you look at your notes the past 2 days, I can't remember which day we did this on, but you'll see that answer. Now, what about that 3, right? I said we forget about the 3 until like right now. Take that 3, bring it out in front. It's really hard to see. Sorry about that. And then bring that together. So we're bringing our original 3, our simplified answer. Your answer is not 32. Square root of 2. It's 3 times 2 because there's this multiplication out here. Don't be the person that plugs in the x and says, oh, it's 32. Right? So it's 3. I almost said it. It's 3 times 2, which is 6 roots of 2. So that 3, the only thing that coefficient did is you multiply it by your answer to get a new simplified answer here. Let's try another example. I have one written down. -2 square roots of 48. We are going to set this to, and we're going to forget about it. We're not coming back to it until the very end. So let's simplify the square root of 48. What perfect squares go into 48? 1 does. 4 does. There's a few of you that like to use a calculator, which is totally fine. Whoops, I dropped that. 48 divided by 9. Nope. 48 divided by 16. Yep. probably stop. You probably know that we're done. But you could keep going and make sure that you are done. Okay, awesome. So those are the 3 that go in. You want to pick the biggest one, always. So we're going to plug in 16 and what? And you could just do that again and say, okay, well, 16 times 3. All right, and at that point, it's great that we pick 16. Why? Because the square root of 16 is technically 4, and the square root of 3 doesn't change. That's your answer. If I asked you that question and I said simplify 48, you should be able to simplify the square root of 48. But I know I said set it and forget it, but just like when you're making food in a crock pot, you set it and forget it, but then you kind of got to come back to it. Otherwise, you're not going to have food there. Okay, so set it and forget it until right now. We're going to bring down that -2. And it's being multiplied by the square root of 48, which is multiplied by 4 roots of 3, because those are the same. And your final answer, again, you're multiplying. What's -2 times 4? -8 square roots of 3. Awesome. I'm going to make a really quick video with some more examples. Otherwise, if you're feeling confident, go right ahead and start your assignment.